So
Yeah.
you, yeah, please introduce yourself and the workspace that you are representing today.
Yeah, of course. So I'm Justin. I am the community manager at Sanders Place. Sanders Place is a co-working space in Richmond in Melbourne, NAM. And we also do events and meeting rooms and stuff, but co-working is the bread and butter. The award that we received was the
Sustainability
Sustainability
impact.
and Impact Award, which we were really thrilled about because we've done so much work for sustainability and impact. It's like in our DNA.
That's right. It was very much. So tell me a little bit of the story about what is the USP of Sanders Place.
Yeah, of course. So Sanders Place, it's a pretty unique, very down to earth shared office and event space, yeah, located in near Cremorne and Richmond in Narm. It was created with sustainability at its core. It's a best practice environmental building. It's got care for nature and community like infused into the operations and practices. So it's originally a project by Triple. Triple is an investment company using capital as a force for good. They're an impact investment company, actually. So besides financial return, they also seek to achieve an impact return. And Sanders Place is a real estate project of theirs. So they had this idea. They wanted an office. They wanted the office to be like connected to nature. They wanted it to be a really beautiful place to be. They wanted it to become a hub for people, organizations that are working in climate and social justice and free democracy, place for them to come and want to be. And so they did this very long and complicated process with architects and different builders that specialize in passive house specifications. And the building itself it speaks for itself. We've won now, besides the Sustainability Impact Award with FWA, we've won a bunch of architecture awards. We won the Victorian Architecture Award. We were a winner of the National Architecture Awards as well. So it kind of puts us like up there with some like incredible buildings. I'm actually sort of shocked that we were considered in the same vein as some of these ones. But yeah, we've received a lot of recognition for the building and it's really amazing. So, but that's the building, that's the hardware. The software, like what I'm doing as the community manager, is all about the members, the community, people, the businesses who actually work here. So I'm building a community of people who focus on sustainability, climate, environment, social justice, free democracy, things like that. We're doing fun events. We've got a really awesome hospitality experience because that's my background. I'm hospital background, events background too. And ultimately, yeah, I'm just trying to create a space that's like beautiful, productive, fun, connecting, so we can grow that impact community in Melbourne.
That's
That's a
awesome.
lot of
And
words.
that's great, mate. It's a very good snapshot of what is an incredible, yeah, an incredible connection of the hardware and the software. And the FWA award, did you win that before you won the other bits of
Yes, that was the first
yeah,
award.
so
But
I'll take
got in
FWA as a trend
first.
spotter.
Yeah, exactly. Ahead of the game.
And we know impactful and sustainable when we see it. I'll take that as a feather in our cap. That's great. Now, why did you apply? Like, why are awards kind of, worth the time and the energy and the effort?
So, I mean, what I like applying for this particular award kind of made sense because of how much work we put into sustainability and impact. And I guess, for us, we don't actually at the time of the award, we were also doing a lot of like diversity, equity, inclusion training as well. Like, so it was felt like it was front and center of everything we were doing every day. So it really felt appropriate to apply for the award. Also, I have a background in events and hospitality, not in flexible working spaces. So applying for the award, joining FWA was an opportunity for me to like rub shoulders with people who have been in this space, in this industry for a very long time and who know much more than me about how to run a co-working space. So there was like obviously the award and the recognition, that's great. But honestly, I think the best part of it was really just like meeting people who are doing what I'm doing every day and who share the same challenges and who can kind of help support each other in the day-to-day post of the awards.
That's great. I completely concur as the operator of a network of regional spaces that are pretty small. One of the chief benefits for me for FWA membership and the sort of leadership roles is that it's live action research. Like I get to do this market research and learn from people who are doing it with much bigger budgets, and often bigger budgets don't mean more innovation or more kind of creativity. Yeah, it's a great learning experience with this kind of peer-to-peer environment. So what were some of the things that you, in your award, like what were some of the standout things that you showcased or highlighted in your application?
So it's like it's so ingrained in this place. It's kind of hard to pick things out. But when I was thinking about it, I was sort of thinking about the different functions that exist within our business and how that might be of use to people in other businesses. So for example, I'm a community manager. I have certain things within my responsibilities. So for example, other community manage, that's just something that we do here. Something simple, like we get our fruit box from a place that supports regenerative and organic farmers. So the fruit looks a bit funny sometimes, but it comes from a source that's better for the environment than it could be otherwise. That's a really easy thing to do. I also decided to go with like an eco kind of like planet Earth focused cleaning company that doesn't use chemicals. So there's like at different stages of my job, I not only I compare the quotes, but I also look for things that are going to have a kind of additional impact payoff. But if you asked my bosses, the owners, why they would have a different answer, for certain things that they've done to sort of like really build on the sustainability of the project and so forth. So, Kate, I could go into so much detail here. You let me know how much you want though.
Oh, look, I mean, I think the example about kind of procurement and sustainability and
Mm.
impacting the kind of decisions that we make as we operate buildings is one.
Yep.
Is there anything in the energy or the waste management or the
Yep.
water that you think are like, that this is how this building is best practice? We do
Definitely.
this.
So it's a bit tricky, this one. For example, with the water, because we built this place with a bunch of huge tanks to collect the rainwater. That's something that you could retrofit certain buildings with, but if you're in an apartment complex, it might be a little bit tricky. But yeah, all of the water is rainwater that we use. And then once that runs out, it kicks into the mains, but we haven't run out yet. Waste is actually, I don't know, I didn't realize this, but I actually love I love thinking about waste and circular economy. So we've got soft plastics, we've got a soft plastics recycling bin, and members, like, they bring their bags of soft plastics from home in, which always brings me joy to see. We recycle compost, it gets turned into a fertilizer. We also have just a normal kind of cardboard, glass. But we bought an anaerobic composter bin, which basically can compost a lot more things than traditional compost bins can. So because our community is kind of small, we can kind of have a compost bin and it not turn to ruin, because I can understand that with a really large community, it can be tricky to manage that everybody puts in the right things in, I suppose. But with us, we're able to. And so, yeah, we've got, what that compost bin does for us is reduces our waste, but also creates fertilizer for our many, many indoor plants and indoor gardens and outdoor gardens and our herb garden and stuff like that. So it's like win-win there.
Since you started in the building, what of those systems has become really intuitive and sustainable, and what are things that actually haven't worked as well as you thought that they would?
So this is great. Like, our building is so smart. There are so many systems and like crazy technologies, because the project itself, just going back a sec, the project was a part of a blueprint for what Melbourne could become if building code and developers started to approach building from a more environmental perspective. And so Sanders Place has never been done before. And the combination of technologies in Sanders Place have also never been put together before in this format. And so with that is a lot of question marks, uncertainty. And so since we've opened, there's been a lot of challenges with getting all of our fandangled technologies to talk to each other. And so it could be that the solar has to talk to the hydronic heating, and that has to talk to the heat recovery system, which has to talk to me because I'm controlling the comfort for all of the people in here, and they may not. So one of the challenges has actually been finding somebody who can come in and actually create a sort of, it's almost just like a dashboard for me to actually like bring all this technology together. And so for a
Yeah.
while there, we were generating solar, but it wasn't getting put into the grid because it wasn't connected. And how was I supposed to know that? I don't have that background, right? But we were very fortunate in that we've been contacted by a startup with a pilot project to bring AI into the management of the climate systems. So since participating in this pilot, we've learned so much about our electricity and energy consumption generation, and we're now, for the last, I don't know how many months in a row now, we're like by far generating more energy than we consume, which is amazing, especially on some of these hot days when we're pumping the air conditioning. I get
Yeah.
notifications telling me to open the windows because the air conditioning is being turned off, or shut the windows, so on and so forth. So that's been a real learning.
I'm just flicking your video on and off just because it was frozen on my screen for a second. So hopefully,
Oh,
yes, you're back in your full form.
I'm
Oh, we could
back.
hear all of you, but it was just you were stuck on a frozen version of your face.
The video. Let me know. Okay, well, you could hear me.
No, I could hear it all. No, we've got it all. So the dashboard has allowed you to actually visualize the kind of building systems in a way which was like more sophisticated than you
Yeah.
as a just a normal human operating a building would have a hope of being able to plug into.
Exactly. I think that with these sorts of with the sorts of things that we had installed here, we should have anticipated some of these problems, but but the sort of sustainability consultancy is they're a very charismatic and visionary group, and so we were completely swept away by their vision, and we went ahead with everything that they asked for, and so it's just been a matter of now like learning how to actually like take control of the wheel and run it
You
ourselves. But
drive the car.
yeah, but it's been, but it's so there's been a lot of new things that I've had to learn because of that.
That's just the case with so much technology though, isn't it? It's like
Yeah,
I can know enough to be able to do this bit with it, but I know there's 90% more capacity that if I was a more sophisticated user or that I'd be
yeah,
able to get out of things. But one of those
but
things about being an early adopter of anything is that you're a trailblazer, and if you
totally.
share the learnings along the way, then you're able to to encourage other people to be not a late adopter, but a next adopter.
But that's the thing, and I reckon that's kind of built into my almost my mission as a business is that, you know, Sanders Place, it's definitely a resource to share. Like we regularly host walkthroughs, tours for people in architecture, people in building, people, a lot of universities and students want to come through. And the idea is that, like, besides all that technology that I've told you about, the thing that actually gets us the most recognition is the demonstration of what can be done with retrofit and reuse. And so that
Yeah.
all
Well,
the so anyways, but the point is we love to share it with people. We want as many people as possible to come and check it out so that they can walk away feeling a little inspired, and maybe they'll change the way that they do something in the future. That's the point of it, all right?
well, you just walked very brilliantly into my next question, which was for
Okay.
other flex operators, what would be 3 tips that you would have for them about things that they could introduce in their spaces? So think of them as low-hanging fruit rather than major retrofits.
Yeah.
Low-hanging fruit to up your sustainability game in your flex space.
Totally. So I'm a huge supporter. The company's called Reground, and like I mentioned before, Reground they will come monthly and take your coffee and your soft plastics. Like they'll collect it from your space. They're very affordable. And like I said, members love recycling soft plastic, especially since Red Cycle got shut down a few years ago. So yeah, this is so easy and it's so affordable. Reground. I also um like I mentioned earlier, the diversity and equity trait. So that's something that a community manager, I believe, could do. Something that I actually don't know what. Sorry, potentially the community manager, potentially the person above them in another flex
Yep.
space. Something that they could do, and I mentioned it earlier, is the diversity and equity training I mentioned. So you can really
Yeah.
easily get somebody to come in, well, all via Zoom in our case, over 2 sessions, and they just helped us to build accessibility into the day-to-day operations of the space. And there's a number of organizations that offer it. It was surprisingly fun.
Yeah,
Honest.
great.
So that's another thing. And then, yeah, I guess for like the ultimate decision makers, the ones who are like, creating the budgets and setting the strategy, there's things that they could do pretty easily. Like, you could offer well-being days for your team, days for them to go do charitable work, professional personal development budgets. We also pay the rent. That's like, obviously that's cash, but it's something that you can quickly just decide to do. Or the other thing we do is like offer discounts to like really high impact organizations as well. But like I said, that's kind of three sort of things you could do as somebody at various levels of responsibility within the organization, which again, those are all things that I do here. So it's, I don't know,
That's great.
do all community managers have this many like, it's a
Oh,
lot of
mate,
crossover, isn't there?
it's it's a
Lot of hats
many-headed
on.
job. It definitely is a many-headed job.
Yeah.
Now, what do you reckon? Because you guys are sitting fairly close to the cutting edge, I reckon, of flex. So if you had to gaze into your crystal ball, what do you think is
Mm.
coming down the line for the flex industry in the next couple of years?
Yeah, I feel like I'm really limited by my own experiences with this one. And so I honestly keep the things I keep noticing is like hospitality, hospitality, hospitality. But what does hospitality mean? Like to me, it means food and bev. It means like having a really like delicious and enjoyable and like pantry available, or like a lunch. We do like fortnightly lunch and learns and get different caterers in each time. And so for me, that's like a real food and bev thing. So aperitivo hours, etc. But in terms of hospitality, I think that that kind of extends just generally to like service and
Mm.
the kind of the sort of things that come from hospitality, being consistency, cleanliness, value, all of these kinds of like traditional traits. I think that I'm noticing more people talking about it. But
Mm.
yeah, and the last thing I reckon I'm noticing is there's just more like there's a lot of career transition people who are trying to figure out their next moves, and they're sort of like really they really love coming into the co-working space. And on top of the career transition people, there's tons of just corporates who want to
Mm.
like mix it up a little bit, have a day in a fun, trendy co-working space versus their stale office. So these are things
Yeah.
that I'm thinking about at the moment. I remember at the conference, somebody mentioned wellness, having like wellness and co-working in one. And I've thought a lot about that. I'm very curious. I hope it turns out. In my head, it kind of reminds me of those apartment complexes though that have got like a gym and a pool inside of them. And whenever I stay in one, I never use them. Like
Oh, and they're not the place that you might.
exactly. They never like they don't quite do any of them fully.
Yeah.
But I'm also not sure whether I'm totally missing the mark and I'm gonna like miss the ball on that one, miss the train on that one. But I'm keeping. I remember the session at the conference. It was really interesting, and he was a really engaging speaker. So I've been kind of keeping my eyes on the ecosystem to see whether I can spot it. But I think hospitality, service, and just different forms of different sources, new revenue streams from like kind of unusual sources like corporates and yeah, career transitions.
I think the career transition one I see an awful lot in my space,
You
and
too?
yeah, I really do. I like,
Yeah.
yeah. And sometimes I wonder whether it's the chicken or the egg. I think people come to a co-working space and
They're
suddenly
like, whoa,
like, wow, that looks really interesting over there, or oh my goodness. I like there's a sort of by osmosis
yeah,
elevation of people's sense of needing to find purpose and fulfillment and energy in their work. And I think
totally.
working spaces are factories for that, if you could bottle
That's
it.
one of the things that makes you really love the work, though, isn't it? When
Yeah.
you see that and when you see the cross-pollination between people who didn't know each other. Like I feel like even just today at lunch, I saw two people from two different orgs like having a new conversation, which I had never experienced them having before. Anyway, it's just like every day you see that kind of stuff. You're like, no, that's nice.
It lights me up too.
Yeah.
That's absolutely the crack that keeps me coming back.
Yeah.
For my last question, tell me what's happened to the actual physical award. Where does it live in your space?
Nowhere near me right now. I'm upstairs, but it's literally right next to my desk, which isn't which so we have two awards, like physical awards. There's the Sustainability Impact Award, and then there's the Impact Investment Award, which we won the year before. And they sit next to each other underneath a really beautiful painting from a First Nations inmate, actually, from this organization called The Torch. So there's this lovely painting. There's this really cute mid-century sideboard with the two awards and a bouquet of flowers and a chromy stylish lamp next to them. So it's like pride and place. By the way, Kate, it's like when you walk in the door, the first thing you see is the big garden, but then the next thing you see is the award, because I always turn the lamp on to draw the eye.
Oh, well, your job when we finish this today is you got to go and take me a snap of that wall.
Yeah,
And
you
when
haven't come yet. You should. When are you in town? You
oh
should.
no, well, Melbourne's a bit of a hike from
Yeah,
regional
fair
New
enough.
South Wales, but
Oh,
yeah,
you're in. I thought you were in Vic.
yeah, no, we're south coast of New South Wales, so Picton, Coledale, and
Oh,
Berry, so a little
oh,
while away.
true. You know, I almost moved to Lake Conjola a couple of years
Oh,
ago.
that's a magical spot.
It's
Before the
so
fires
beautiful.
or after?
After, still beautiful though. Like actually, in fact, you know what post fires like the trees are recovering and they've got like the fresh colors. Like it was still an incredibly beautiful place, and that whole coastline's amazing.
That's right near Milton. That's my
Yeah,
next working location. That will be the next WorkLife location.
there's a
Actually,
nice little wine bar in Milton I remember going
yeah,
to.
I spent New Year's Eve there.
Love
God, Yucca House is
it.
absolutely awesome. So yeah, Bar Yuki down there and Yucca House at WorkLife. Anyway, they're the two coolest bars on the south coast at the moment. So
I'll keep him in
yeah,
mind when I'm there next.
keep them in mind. Absolutely. Justin, thank you so much for sharing your journey to your impressive inaugural award, and we hope that it inspires many others. And that they don't get inferiority complex when they're looking at sound designs, because yeah, at all levels of the industry, there are so many layers to what you can do, and it's great that you've brought forward things that are part of the fabric of the building and part of the way that you show up as a community manager, and also the essential ingredients of the kinds of demographics of businesses that are based in your space, and
Yeah.
to be so generous to share it all. It's just wonderful.
Totally. And that's the point. It's all about sharing. So if anybody gets this far in the video, reach out to me if you want to chat or ask any more questions. And I'd love to show you around and answer them as much as possible.
Oh, Justin, we nailed it.
Thanks, Kate.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.